gives a shit what Stephen A. Smith wants to hear? There are some people at ESPN that have total exempt status. They lost their nuts a long time ago. There is no way I would be quiet if he was fired over something like this. Clark's overt racism is actually starting to make the ESPN white dudes uncomfortable. Diversity is the strength of ESPN. Actual analysis is the weakness. This is why you don't acquiesce to Stephen A. Smith. You know, you got to admire loyalty in sports. You really do. And at ESPN, that loyalty, it makes the white dudes in Building 4 cringe, man. They're scared to death to fire anybody of color. No, they are. I mean, you would literally have to, I don't even know what you have to do, insult a former coworker's wife publicly, embarrass the organization publicly by doing said thing. No. There are some people at ESPN that have total exempt status, and I ain't even mad about it. Hey, good for them, but we've told you over and over again, as you people have said, I think Ryan Clark should be fired. I think this guy should be fired. No. The dudes, the white dudes, the Connor Shells, the Burke Magnuses, the Jimmy Pateros who are running the joint are just trying to get to a point where their stock options kick in and the 401k is stuffed. They don't want to be called racist. They don't want to have Stephen A. Smith not being quiet. If they did, they would show real nuts, but they can't do that because they lost their nuts a long time ago. ESPN, when it lost its way post-George Floyd, lost its nuts. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I don't really watch. In fact, I don't watch. You know, I've always said, if you don't like what's on your TV, turn the damn channel. Stephen A. Smith is, to no one's surprise, he's come to the defense of his compadre, Ryan Clark, for this stupid, Ryan Clark-type stupid words that Ryan Clark said about the family, particularly the wife of RG3. Those comments, according to Smith, that he made about RG3's family and wife, well, it's not a fireable defense. And there is no way I would be quiet if he was fired over something like this. Let's hear Smith.
Couple of things. I don't want to hear shit about Ryan Clark being fired. I don't want to hear that. Ryan Clark is my colleague. He is my friend and brother. He is a good man, and he's a good brother. And there is no way on earth that I would be quiet if he was fired over something like this. I'm not saying he's right, and I'll get into that in a second. But this is not a fireable offense.
See, that tells me that it is a fireable offense because Stephen A. Smith, nobody's really saying to fire him except for, idiots on Twitter. It's obvious this is being discussed inside ESPN that Clark's overt racism is actually starting to make the ESPN white dudes uncomfortable. Look, Stephen A. Smith, you don't want to hear about Ryan Clark being fired. That's good. Go stand over there. Don't worry about it. Just because Stephen A. Smith doesn't want to hear about Ryan Clark being fired, that has nothing to do with anything. This is why you don't acquiesce to Stephen A. Smith. This is why I'm going to use it with Indiana basketball. Indiana basketball gave unlimited power to Bob Knight. And when Bob Knight did what Stephen A. Smith is currently doing, bully, use ego, act outside the company, in Knight's case, it was Indiana basketball. In Smith's case, it's ESPN. You got a serious problem. You empower this person, and this person can't handle that power. They don't become humbled by it. They say they're humbled by it, but they become arrogant by it. I don't want to hear. Who gives a shit what Stephen A. Smith wants to hear? Stephen A. Smith got saved by Skip Bayless. Stephen A. Smith on his own had done nothing, was a joke, got fired from everything. Bayless saved him. George Floyd happened. ESPN lost their minds and empowered him. And now Smith can't handle it. I don't want to hear. Who cares what you want? You ain't a boss. Who gives a shit? And what he said later about, I can't be quiet about it. Well, so what? All right, I tell you what, Stephen A. Smith, here's what you do. I would do this just for the hell of it. I don't think I would, but I might. I got to think about it. I'd fire Clark and say, Smith, you go against the company. Here it is in your contract. We're going to fire you. You're going to lose your $20 million. Now, speak on it, son. Go ahead. I guarantee you in his contract, while I know that the white dudes got scared to death and think this guy Smith actually brings viewers, I guarantee you in that contract, because ESPN's attorneys aren't stupid, there is clause is in there that basically says if you go against us, if you embarrass the company, if you go directly against company policy, we have the right to fire you. Somehow, not in that language, it's in there. So you get rid of Clark and you say, Smith, give us your best shot, buddy. At some point, ESPN's going to do that. You know, at some point, ESPN's going to realize that ESPN can exist, should exist, would be better without Stephen A. Smith. Football coverage, he's non-existent. NBA coverage, not interesting. Has no idea what he's talking about. You know, diversity is the strength of ESPN. Actual analysis is the weakness. And Stephen A. Smith is the poster child for that. So, I'll tell you what. You go ahead. That's what I would say. Let's go. I would have lawyers involved. I would know exactly where I'm at. And if he wants to counter shoot, good. 20 years from now, he might get his money. But being threatened by Stephen A. Smith and your ESPN, are you out of your mind, ESPN? Grow some balls. I don't care whether Smith's on the TV or not. I don't watch NBA Countdown. Frankly, I ain't that interested in the Western Conference Finals, which had the lowest ratings maybe of all time in Game 1. I don't know what the ratings were last night. But if Smith is involved, I really don't care one way or the other. I watch the game. The only show that I watch is Charles, Kenny, Shaq, and Ernie. That's it, because they understand hoops and they're fun. So, here's Smith. RG3, he never attacked your wife. The hell he didn't. Here it is.
RG3, he never attacked your wife. He never attacked your family. He was attacking you, and you know it. Now, that don't make it correct, the mentioning of your wife. I'll concede that. He didn't utter a negative syllable about your wife. He never mentioned your children. So when you say attacking your wife and attacking your family, your children, how did he do that?
I'll tell you exactly how he did that. He did it passive-aggressively by even mentioning them. That's exactly how he did that. If you don't understand that, Smith, then you're dumber than I think you are. Are you insane? Of course he did that. Greg Doyle did that with me. He did that with me by even mentioning my son, and he did it in a positive way. You do that to get public opinion on your side. He attacked the whiteness of RG3's wife. Why? To get the blackness on his side, to get the black community on his side. It's exactly what he did, and Smith knows it. Absolutely what he did. I know what he did. We all know. He attacked the woman's whiteness to get the black women, the black guys to go against RG3 because he has a white wife. That is the very definition of attacking the wife. And I get it. Smith's defending his colleague. I get it. Smith has some idiotic, warped sense of loyalty in this. But all of this over what? A foul in a basketball game and a player retaliating against the foul. Think about that for a second. Think about how shallow these people are. Not RG3, but Ryan Clark. Absolutely attacked his wife. You don't always attack somebody by name. Well, his wife is so-and-so and such and such. No. No. We've all seen this. People that have been criticized have all felt this. He was attacking his wife's whiteness, which is attacking his wife. to get the African-American community on his side, Clark's side, against RG3 due to his wife's whiteness. That's a fact, Jack. And if you're not smart enough to know it, you shouldn't be making $20 million a year. You should be sitting over there yelling and screaming and hoping Skip Bayless, a white dude, by the way, bails your ass out. That's such bullshit. It's so ridiculous. It's so asinine. Over a foul. A foul, ladies and gentlemen, a foul. Here is Ryan Clark's comments about RG3's white wife.
Although when RG3 jumps on to the hate train or to the angry train and now follows along with what we saw from Keith Olbermann, what we saw from Dave Portnoy as they poured on to Angel Reese to make her the villain in Caitlin Clark's heroic or hero story. Right. The one thing we know about RG3 is he's not having conversations at his home about what black women have to endure in this country, about what young black women and athletes like Angel Reese have had to deal with being on.
Really? He doesn't have a mom? He's got 4 daughters. Really? He's got sisters. Really? Because this barely literate guy, Ryan Clark, says, well, I got a white wife. That is a clear attack at their marriage, a clear attack at the whiteness of his wife. I don't expect Smith to understand it. I get it. Guys get blinded by their racism. I get it. They don't even know when they're being racist. They have no idea. But of course it is. Of course. Honest to God. Smith or Clark doubles down and nukes his own argument in the process. I don't know. I didn't know this was news, but since other people want to talk about her, this is my firstborn, Jade. My God, she's beautiful, Oliver. I fell in love with her the first time I ever saw her, and I've loved her every day since. We grew up together. We cried together, laughed, fought, okay, blah, 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 blah. She is all mine and always be so proud to be her father. Maybe the news in light of this week is that she's biracial. So she's perfect part of my God-given experience, and the sum of those experiences made me who I am. Really? So here's Clay's reaction. You destroyed your own argument with this post and are too dumb to realize it. Congrats, man. That's hard to do. You truly may be the dumbest person in sports media, which is saying something. Clay continues. So by your all account, if you had married your daughter's mom, you wouldn't be able to comment on Angel Reese. Congrats. You played yourself with your own argument, moron. Well, I do think Ryan Clark has trouble speaking. And you can say whatever you want. But Ryan Clark's a dumbass. He just is. And he absolutely attacked RG3's wife. Now, all of this over a foul. The result is that Clark's argument is so stupid. I legit think ESPN should fire him for it. This is Clay. Not because of his opinion, mind you. We all have opinions. But because some opinions are truly so dumb and indefensible that by making them, you demonstrate you aren't intelligent enough to work at a media company doing live television. ESPN got mad at me for simply saying, no, I am not going in the pool, going at it in a pool with a woman that is not my wife. I got a call from the vice president of ESPN, some hag named Stephanie Drewley. Dad, the women of ESPN are upset with you. You think the Stephanie Drewleys, she's been fired since. You think the Stephanie Drewleys of the world, the vice presidents, Dave Roberts of the world called Ryan Clark? Hell no. There's no chance that Ryan Clark is fired, and you heard why in the opening. Stephen A. Smith may speak on it, and somehow, some way, the guys that run ESPN cower at that. What? They cower at that? I understand Stephen A. Smith has worked himself into the DEI hire of all time at ESPN, but damn, at some point you got to stand up. I just simply said, hey, I'm not going at it in a pool with a woman that isn't my wife. That squelched the whole thing. Dad, these dudes are out here acting like complete dumbasses over a foul in a woman's game. Hey, you enjoying the show so far? Of course you are. What the hell? Make sure you head on over to youtube.com/@OutKick/videos to like, comment, and subscribe. That way you'll never miss any of the fantastic content and the action. Hey, free John Haliburton, baby. That's right. Friend of the show, Charles Barkley, is calling on NBA Commissioner Adam Silver and the Pacers organization to allow Tyrese's father once again to attend games. So am I. This comes on the heels of John Haliburton walking to essentially midcourt to get into Giannis Antetokounmpo's. Got into his face and talk a little smack after, well, the Pacers eliminated the Bucks. Yeah, you can't do that. That's really stupid. That's really stupid. All right, has John served an ample punishment? They said it was an indefinite suspension, which to me means for as long as the Pacers and the NBA wants. I say bring him back. I say let him in. Game 2 tonight. Pacers, let him in tonight in MSG. He served his punishment. I would allow him back in the game. I understand it may set a bad precedent. And I'm not going over the moon on this. But speaking as a father whose son is absolutely dealing, and he's dealing late, and he's dealing in the face of a hostile crowd. And I really like Haliburton. I think Haliburton's a great dude. And by the way, hey, don't tell Ryan Clark, but Haliburton got a white girlfriend and a white mom. Holy cow, he can't speak on nothing. Here's Sir Charles calling for free John Haliburton.
Great mama talking. It's time to let Mr. Haliburton back in the building.
Yes, it is.
Adam, I'm asking you, hey, my man paid his dues. He did something really, really stupid, but he's been punished. And I'm asking you and the Indiana Pacers to let Mr. Haliburton back in the building for game 3 and 4. I mean, he paid his dues. It shouldn't be indefinite. He's been punished enough. He would never do anything that stupid again. So, Adam, you know how much I love you. And my man Kevin Pritchard, y'all let Mr. Haliburton back in the building for game 3.
So you're saying the game's in Indianapolis?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, because let me tell you something. He won't come up to New York acting like that.
No, you don't want to. You don't want him in this building.
No,
but back at home,
I'm gonna tell you something. He come up to New York doing that crazy stuff. He won't make it back to Indy.
Well, he come in New York, he still may not make it back, even if he acting right.
Meantime.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think people celebrate him. Anyway, hey, Sir Charles was caught on a hot mic blasting the idiots who voted Haliburton the most overrated player in the NBA.
Can you believe that he never made a defensive team?
They were also winning 10 games.
I can't believe you were trying to wedge that in when I'm trying to tell him what the vote was for MVP.
I can't believe let's say these guys who vote don't know the they're doing.
He's incredible for sure.
He's up.
How does that get released? I actually had a lady at ESPN, one of the executive producers, tell me, said, Dan, if I released everything that I have in the vault that was on a hot mic, everybody would be fired. Here's John Haliburton. Here's John Haliburton celebrating. Looks like he's in New York. I don't know. He's in a bar. Is he at Billy's where our guy Nick C is? Here's John Haliburton. Look, he's dancing. Ron Artest is there. I don't know. He's got camera crews around him. John Haliburton is living his best life. Maybe he doesn't want to come back. Maybe he doesn't need to come back. Maybe this is all much ado about nothing. Hey, look, I don't know how I would handle it. I do know that as a father of a player that played in the Big Ten and hit a couple big shots, I wasn't going on the court. Would I go dancing in a bar? Maybe after the game. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. What the hell do I know? This is John Haliburton and his apology after the idiotic incident. No question. I sincerely apologize to Giannis and the Bucks, the Pacers organizations for my actions following tonight's game. This is not a good reflection on our sport, right? Or my son, and I will not make that mistake again. Stephen A. Smith doubles down on his take that Tyrese Haliburton isn't a superstar. This is what I'm saying. Like, great. This is, great. You're the face and you use race and all that kind of stuff. But this is the stupidity when Stephen A. Smith and guys like him, meaning guys that have never played or coached, have to actually talk sports. Here's Smith.
You're both wrong. I'm not agreeing with you on this at all. And I don't have to worry about how folks are coming late to the party. I wanted the Knicks to draft Haliburton. Remember that. I wanted them to draft Haliburton instead of Obi Toppin. I think he's a damn good player. I think that he's a star in this league, but superstar status is reserved for the select few, and I don't view him that way. However, and I know that he shows up in the clutch moment. He deserves our credit. He's a big-time player. I like him a lot. I've always said that. So I don't have to worry about how I'm being perceived in terms of what I've had to say about him because I've always celebrated him. Having said all of that, I'm going to sit up there, Eminem and Jay, and look at y'all like this. You're talking about big shots, right? And you're talking about how big shots qualify you as a star. Was Robert Horry a superstar? Nobody hit more big shots than that.
Are you comparing Tyrese Haliburton to Robert Horry?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
What I'm saying is in terms of the big shots. I'm talking about the big shots, what you said about big-time shot making.
The level of stupid when Stephen A. Smith actually tries to talk basketball is astounding. $20 million for what? I guess they say that his show is good. I don't know. But my God, comparing Haliburton, who has literally led a team to the Eastern Conference Finals twice, led him in assists, scoring 30. Robert Horry made baskets late. Great. But it ain't nearly the same thing. Are you comparing Robert Horry and Tyrese Haliburton? He says, no, of course he is. It is literally the more I really haven't cared about Stephen A. Smith. When I worked there, ran into him one time in the hall. Hey, how you doing? I liked his producer, a woman that ran a porn company. I liked her. I thought she was funny. I thought their producers were great. We all had beers one night when we got snowed in, the Doubletree Hotel. Great. But my God, diversity is our strength. Actual basketball analysis is our weakness. My God. Are you doing? No. I'm not comparing the two after you just compared the two. I'm telling you, man, them dudes up in the 4th floor or building 4, 7th floor at ESPN, they're like, I can't believe where we're at. I cannot believe we allowed this kind of stupidity to happen. Damn! Legendary quarterback Aaron Rodgers, who isn't one to shy away from any controversial topic, hopped on Joe Rogan's podcast and absolutely nuked transgender athletes competing in women's sports. Slap in the face, he said, to women. He's right. Of course he's right. Here's Aaron Rodgers.
If you still want to compete and you're a woman, you should you should be protected and only have to compete against other actual biological women. Period. End of discussion. It's not bigoted to say that.
The trans women movement is actually anti-woman.
100%. Especially when it comes to sports, 100%.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Sports. Yeah. You're not seeing trans men dominating anything.
No.
It's because there's a biological difference.
Well, it's also a problem because if you're a trans man, now you have to take testosterone, which is banned. You can't take it.
That's
so
true.
are you going to let them take it and you won't let older athletes take it? That sounds crazy.
I mean, Charles Barkley on our show opened it up for other athletes to speak out. He really did. The attention that he got from saying, look, I love transgender people, I love my gay friends, but women should not have to compete against men, opened it up for everyone. It was already 79% people were against men participating against women. That's just common sense. But now others can. However, with President Trump's return to the White House, the tide has turned. That's right. With Trump's leadership, the stigma around criticizing biological men in women's sports has vanished. Emboldened truth tellers like Rodgers to call out men too weak to compete in their own division. Progressives and Democrats insisted for years that these men should be recognized as women and be allowed to compete, despite clear advantages in size and strength. Hey, Davey, do you think that's true? Do you think that Trump getting in office, and I do think Barkley coming on our show and being so adamant and the attention that it got, I do think that has opened the doors for this. I do. Do you?
I would agree with that, Dan. I think if you look at the 2024 election in general, just the way in which that unfolded, that's when we really started to see people not be afraid to speak their mind and not worried about being canceled by the left.
I agree. I'm saying to myself, you're going to see more and more. In fact, when Charles was talking about it, I thought that at the time, Davey. I thought, man, he is going to open up doors. Now, I don't, you always try to remember. I'm not sure I remembered. If Rodgers had said this during the Biden administration, what do you think the reaction would have been? And really hasn't been much pushback against Rodgers since then, has there? I haven't seen it.
Not since then. I would say when we go back to COVID, and if you remember, he said he was immunized and did not have the vaccine.
Yeah.
The left went crazy. I can't remember I think it was a Chicago-based writer that would not vote for him for MVP because he wasn't a good leader because he would not get the vaccine. So we probably would have had more of that had the election last year not went the way it did.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think that everybody back then was so easy to jump on everything, including what you said 20 years ago or what I said 20 years or whatever. I just think we lost our damn mind. I mean, it's amazing to me. The good for him, and I hope other athletes speak up. I hope women. Where the hell's the Me Too movement? Where the hell are feminists? All right, what do we always say on this show? I don't believe men. I don't believe women. Believe the evidence. That's what we do, and that is not based on anything other than my sister, a 25-year domestic violence prosecutor in Bloomington, Indiana. That's what she told my son and my two nephews, and that's what she's told everybody. That's what she said, period. That's what she learned, period. Don't believe the victim. Don't believe the plaintiff. Believe the evidence. Well, all right. We'll get to Todd Golden in a minute. All right. Believe the evidence. Quarterback Jake Reslip has been accused of sexual assault dating back to an incident that took place in his home in 2023. A Utah woman has alleged that the quarterback of BYU, Jake Reslip, raped, strangled, and bit her, and that she was encouraged by Provo police not to do anything after reporting it, according to a lawsuit filed Wednesday in Utah State Court. Holy shit, we look forward to proving that innocence. Jake's focus this year will be on football. We don't try cases in the media. We will respect the process, establish Jake's innocence through the judicial system. Mark Butte, Reslip's attorney. Police there said the woman who called the department was given several opportunities to identify her abuser, but declined to, and as a result, the case was closed. Evidence collected, the department said, was examined and led to no actionable investigative leads. The woman did not respond to police when it attempted to follow up with her to offer any subsequent services. At some point after speaking to the police, an officer reached out to her asking for the name because someone else filed a complaint against a football player, and police wanted to see if it was the same person. The lawsuit said, at that point, Jane Doe AG shared Reslip's name, and Provo police encouraged her not to do anything because, as they claim, sexual assault victims never get justice. This doesn't smell right. This just doesn't smell right. We're going to follow this and see where it ends up, but this doesn't smell right. And I in this day and age, you're telling me police are going to go, hey, don't do it because you're not going to get justice. Doesn't smell right. You know, we'll keep you posted on this. This is interesting. University of Florida men's basketball won the national championship under head coach Todd Golden. He's also a friend of the show. Well, he made a great statement while speaking at the White House ceremony of honoring his team's triumph this past season. The fellas went to the White House, and they had a good time. I'd like to think of our program similarly to how you think of the United States. We are a meritocracy. What? Are we a meritocracy here? Meaning the best people get the best jobs? Not at ESPN. This phone is full of black and white employees and former employees at ESPN saying there is no meritocracy at ESPN, but the nation is, and Florida basketball is. Good. Here is Todd Golden speaking at the White House.
All year, we wouldn't be here, so thank you all very much. Mr. President, I like to think of our program similarly to how you think of the United States. We're a meritocracy. All right, we work really, really hard no matter what you look like or where you come from. if you put the team first and win, we're going to play you. And we have a program full of guys that have great attitudes, great work ethics, most importantly, want to be at the University of Florida. All right.
Yeah, that is important in this day and age. I mean, look, I don't know how many are going to stay. That's always the interesting thing because, well, some are going to get better offers somewhere. Now, Florida has added players and Florida has lost players, but I think Todd Golden really established himself in that speech as someone that we can get behind. A meritocracy? Wait a second. That ain't supposed to happen. Huh? Say what? Last night, I don't know what to tell you, people. I don't know what to tell you, but I legitimately, and I'm sad about this, I need LeBron James, I found out. I do. I need Joker, I found out. I know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, or whatever his name, I think that's his name. I know he's the MVP, and I know he got 38, and I know we're supposed to watch. Yeah, I don't know. I can't do it. I didn't do it. I don't know why. I'm not sure why, but I can't. It's just, it doesn't register. 118 to 103 last night is what OKC did to Anthony Edwards and Minnesota, and I'm not going to lie. Those two players are the future of the NBA. They are. And I can't watch. No interest. Hey, tell me who won at the end now. All right. Alexander, SGA as they call him, had 38 and had 32. Apparently, I'm sorry. Apparently, I need LeBron. I need Jokic. Hell, I'd probably even take James Harden in there. I think. No, I probably wouldn't. Durant. I need Steph. I need some fellas in here. Now, I don't matter. No, I totally get it. The only time I matter is when I'm speaking on this show or I'm speaking on my other show or I'm speaking on Twitter. I understand. Old white guy wearing Pacer jersey. Who gives a rat's ass? But I'll tell you this, no one was watching game one. It was the least watched Western Conference final in like 20 years, 18, 12, whatever it was, years and years and years. And I didn't watch last night. I didn't even think about to watch last night. I don't know. Lee and I watched some show. I don't know what the hell it was called. It was on Netflix. It was all right. But damn, I don't know. Let's talk about something more important. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Pacers. All right, here's the deal. Here's the Pacers. Pacers and Knicks tonight. Pacers are not the favorite. Pacers shouldn't be the favorite. Pacers should be an absolute underdog. Guess what? They are. Now, people are going to ask me all day, what side you betting on? And I honestly don't know. The line is 6. I think it opened at 5.5. The number is 6. I'm going to take the Pacers in 6. But 6 feels like, to me, the number where the Pacers are either going to win or the Knicks are going to cover that 10. Davey, you taking the Pacers getting points? You taking the Knicks giving points? What are you taking, if anything, tonight?
I've been going back and forth on this one, Dan. After the way in which the Knicks ultimately choked it, I feel like that they've got to make a statement here. If they do not win tonight, this series is over. Do you subscribe to the theory that a series doesn't start until an away team wins a game?
I don't subscribe to really any theories like that. I understand the theory. I do. I think if the away team wins 2 games on the road in a row, like the Pacers did against Cleveland, I'm not going to argue with the theory that the series is over. But the coach in me just simply says, who's playing better? And if you're playing better, eventually you'll win games home or road. But I know, I get the point, and I'm not mad at the point.
Yeah, I just tonight, I didn't anticipate. I thought the Pacers would cover last game but not win. Tonight, I just feel like the momentum's going their way, but the Knicks, I think, have at least enough. They'll clamp down and be able to at least win one at home.
I gotta believe, I really do. I gotta believe it. I don't think 6 is too many. I can see this being one of those games where the Knicks get up in the fourth quarter, And we kind of, and the next thing you know, they win by 10. I will say this, though. Here's what I think has to happen for the Pacers to have a shot tonight. Somebody on the Pacers, and it's not going to be Nesmith. Nesmith, look, water finds its level in basketball. The 6-3's in the fourth, the 8 of 9. He's due for a 1 for 10. So I'm going to take him out of the equation. But I'm going to tell you this tonight. Watch out if the Pacers are going to win this game. Watch out for Andrew Nembhard. I'm not saying he's going to get 30. Not saying that at all. What I am saying is, like Nesmith in the fourth quarter, Nembhard, if the Pacers win tonight, will be the guy that makes the shots. He is fully capable, A, of making them. B, he loves it late. Oh, man, does he love it late. Andrew Nembhard, the second-round pick out of Florida first and then Gonzaga, is one of those dudes like Haliburton that ain't afraid of the moment. So I think if the Knicks win, they're going to get a typical game out of their players, meaning 30 out of Brunson, 20 out of Cat, 15 to 20 out of Bridges, 10 to 12 to 15 out of Hart. You know what I'm saying? Normal game. But for the Pacers to win, somebody's going to have to show big late. I'm assuming I'm going to give you Haliburton will show late. And he did. But that game Tuesday night, I think it was Tuesday, was won by Nesmith. You're down 8-9, under a minute, you miss, you're done. It's just the way it is. You miss, they rebound, you're done. They're going to hold it for 10 seconds or they're going to go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Well, who is going to do that again? And I'm not talking about being down 8. I'm talking about being down 1. I'm talking about being up 1 under a minute. If they let, and they wouldn't let him, okay? They wouldn't let him. But if Haliburton beats him late again, everybody should be fired. That's why I think Nembhard's the guy. So tonight, when you're watching the game, if it's close, if it's down to the wire, which I'm not so sure it's going to be, my head would say take the Knicks, give the 6. My heart is never doing that. I'm taking the Pacers and the 6. But if it's close, remember I said this, Andrew Nembhard is a bad man. Andrew Nembhard don't mess around. All right, man, I hope that happens. By the way, we are playing golf, I think, with Sir Charles Barkley on Monday, and we'll have some stuff from it if I got to hold up my phone and videotape him and me. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Hey, we got Jay Feely coming up.